What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. Today we're going to talk about the defense. Most importantly, we're going to talk about the front seven and what this former defensive line coach, now defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, has to work with this front seven, and what we should be expecting from the 2020 Houston Texans front seven. Should we be encouraged or should we be worried about this front seven, especially, more importantly, the pass rush capabilities of this front seven? Now, for the past 8, 9, maybe 10 years, this Texan defense has been, especially when it comes to the pass rush, has been J.J. Watt bust. Let's be honest. It's been J.J. Watt bust. Outside of the 2 years, 17 and then 16, when J.J. missed majority of the season, you had Clowney step up and be an all-pro and a Pro Bowler. Defense has been J.J. Watt bust. Even last year, even though J.J. missed the last 8 games of the regular season, he was still amongst the team leaders, if not the team leader, in hits, quarterback hits, hurries, and pressures. That's very problematic. That's extremely problematic. And that's the reason why when you go, we're going to talk about this front seven because, especially like I said, the lack of pass rush. Now, under Romeo Crennel on the rack, this defense has been a lot of strength as far as stopping the run. And DJ Reader was a solid run stuffer. I've been saying this for years about Clowney. Clowney's the best NFL run. He's the best run stuffer in the NFL, in my personal opinion, and that's good. I mean, but Najee McKinney, solid run stuffer. Zach Cunningham, amongst the NFL leaders on tackles. I think he was like top 5 in the NFL in tackles, and either second or third in the AFC, something like that. But of course, the whole NFL, he's like top 5. He might have been 4th or 5th in the whole NFL. Those things are good, especially when we play in the AFC South. You know, you have Derrick Henry leading the league in rushing for the Titans. You have when Leonard Fournette is motivated, he's a top solid rusher. And then the Colts have Marlon Mack, and now this year they just added Jonathan Taylor. So to stop the run in the NFL, especially in the AFC South, is very good. We need to stop the run. That's part of the reason why the Texans have been one of the AFC South 4 out of the last 5 years, because they're able to stop the run. They're amongst the NFL leaders in stopping the run in this division. Strength outside of the Texans is running the football. The problem of that is when you get to the playoffs and you have a lack of a pass rush, like against Kansas City, allowing 41 straight points, allowing 51 points. Even though I've been talking about and harping and getting onto the secondary a lot, and don't worry, a video about the secondary will be coming soon. But I still can't ignore the lack of pass rush in that game. Part of the reason why Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce was out there able to do whatever they wanted to do is because there was nobody in a radius of getting close to Patrick Mahomes. And I know JJ played in that game after he played good against Buffalo, but let's be honest. Against Buffalo, he was a situational pass rusher up into the fourth quarter in overtime, when they gave him a lot more range and allowed him to play majority of the snaps. And he was able to, he rested the first half of the game because he was only in pass rush situations. But then when the fourth quarter in overtime came, he was juiced up, ready to go. Now against Kansas City, they just gave him free range and let him play like it was a regular game. He missed football for the last 8 weeks of the season. He was not in football shape, so therefore he couldn't give his ultimate effort because he wasn't ready to play a full game. Now, if you was giving him allowing him to be, a situational pass rusher like you did in Buffalo, he would have been all right in that game. I'm not saying the Texans would have won that game. I'm not saying they would have stopped the Chiefs from giving up 51 points. But what I'm saying is that hurt you because JJ wasn't himself. And like I just said, this defense, especially when it comes to the pass rush for the past couple of years, has been JJ Watt or bust. Now let's talk about the front seven that we have at hand and what I think the front seven is going to be. Now, you let DJ Reader walk during free agency and you drafted Ross Blacklock. Now, like I said before, I have no issue with Ross Blacklock. I wanted a corner. I wanted Diggs in the second round, but that's neither here nor there. Blacklock is a solid run stuffer. Not as good as DJ Reader, but he's a solid run stuffer. That's probably his strength right now. But he does have the potential to be a better pass rusher. And I think right now, he's like at 290 or 285, 290. once everything starts opening back up and he gets around the NFL trainers and is able to get an NFL regiment diet, he's going to, by the time the season gets here, he's going to be around 300 pounds. And I think that he's going to be able, because he has a little bit more wiggle, he's able to be able to get and put pressure on the quarterback. That's going to help JJ. It's going to take some pressure off of JJ. And he's not, he doesn't give you that much lacking in the run game and stopping the run, because as of right now, stopping the run is his strength right now. But I do think potentially, I'm not saying he's going to be like one of the best pass rushing defensive tackles, but he's going to give you more in the pass rushing capability, I think, than Reader did give you. I do think that he's a little bit more athletic than Reader is. Now, on the opposite side, on the inside, Charles Minhew's going to his second year. We've seen a lot of good flashes. We've seen a lot of plays made. You know, the strip sack against Patrick Mahomes in the first time the Texans played the Chiefs. He's quick off the ball. I do think that, you know, he has to step his game up. But again, he had some ups and downs last year. He was a rookie playing spot in, spot out. I think he's going to get more of a role this year. And I do think that he's going to give you your best opportunity as on the opposite end of JJ as being a pass rushing defensive end. I think he predicates and gives you more on the pass rushing capabilities. Now, your two middle linebackers, you know, your Bernard McKinney's and your Zach Cunningham's. Both of them are solid run stuffers. B-Mac was a Pro Bowler last year, 2018, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he was an All-Pro. I think he was a second-team All-Pro in 16, something like that. 16 or 17. He was a second-team All-Pro early on before he made his Pro Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. He's a solid run stuffer. Also, another guy who's been amongst NFL leaders in tackles a couple times. I think in 16 and in 18, he was amongst the NFL leaders in tackles. Like I said about Zach Cunningham, last year, team leading tackler, top 5 in the NFL, top 2 or 3 in the AFC in tackles. Both of those guys are going to be they're both going to be your clogs in stopping this run. They're both solid run stoppers. They do need to help a little bit more in coverage. That's probably their problem, is they lack as coverage skills. Their coverage skills lack. I do think that Zach Cunningham is a little bit more athletic, because I think Zach Cunningham will be a Pro Bowler / All-Pro this year. He was a Pro Bowler alternate last year. I think this year, especially being a contract year for him, he chasing the bag. He's going to have a monster season. I think he is probably, out of everybody on this defense, going to have the biggest impact because it's a contract year. I think he's going to have a huge monster season and be, like I said, either a Pro Bowler, both a Pro Bowler / All-Pro this year. Now, the outside linebackers. We've seen Whitney Merciless, first 5 games of the year, come out like gangbusters. He was dominating. I was upset that in September he was a defensive player of the month. He was forcing, I think he had 4 straight games of strip sacks, had a couple picks. He was dominating the first 5 games of the year. He was all over the field. You've seen playoff Whitney Merciless, because in the playoffs, you know, against Kansas City back in 15, and then against Oakland and against the Patriots back in 16, he was a monster. We seen playoff Whitney Merciless the first 5 games of the season. Once JJ got hurt, Whitney Merciless disappeared. I've always said this about about Whitney Merciless, because people always ask about him. Remember when Clowney, rookie year and second year, when Clowney was in and out the lineup with injuries? Him and JJ were a good dynamic duo. I think one year he was second team All Pro. It was defensive player of the month back in 2015. Had 12.5 sacks on that year, and on that season. Then the year that JJ was out, and back in 16, he was second team All Pro, tops, and then one of the top team leaders in sacks and in tackles. But when him and Clowney was both on the field with JJ, he was a third man out. He took a step back. Last year, no Clowney. JJ gets hurt. He disappears, because he's more of a guy who's a cleanup guy. That if JJ's getting the attention or Clowney's getting the attention, he can make the cleanup. But if they both there, he's not able. He's non-factor. And if they both gone, once again, he's a non-factor. But I think that the help with Blacklock and also Charles Minhue and JJ, I do think with Charles Minhue getting to his second year in the league and a little bit more better, I think you're going to see. I'm not saying you're going to see that first 5 games of Whitney Merciless. I'm not saying you're going to see playoff Whitney Merciless, but I do think you'll see a more effective Whitney Merciless because he does have some skills, and that's the reason why people get so frustrated at Whitney Merciless because you know he has potential. We've seen it. It's not even like it's flashes. We've seen you do stuff. And I think that he will be able to, he'd be more comfortable in this defense. And I think that Anthony Weaver, being a former defensive lineman, knows kind of the situation. I think Anthony Weaver will be able to put him in a better position more so than Rack was able to. Now, on the opposite side, the other outside linebacker, I think Jonathan Gennard is going to be the other outside linebacker. I think Jonathan Gennard is going to take over Brandon Scarlett's job. The second round pick, I was happy that, to me, that was the best pick of the draft for the Texans. I wouldn't be mad if the Texans would took him in the second round. I'm surprised he fell all the way down to the third round. So I think that's great value for him. He's a natural pass rusher. Could be. Probably. Could be the most natural pass rusher on the team. Not saying he's the best pass rusher. I'm not saying he's the best. But what I'm saying about him being more natural, everything comes more fluent. Like, he doesn't have to think. Everything is just is more natural. It comes like his arm movements, the way he goes under, his angles that he takes, the way he comes off the ball, the way he times the snap, all those things come more natural to him because he's a pure pass rusher. You see it on the field. Pass rusher moves that take veterans 4 or 5 years to learn. He comes to him naturally. He's more natural. Just like how some guys are more natural shooters in the NBA. They're more natural shooters. Not saying they're the best scorer. They're not the best scorer, but when it comes to shooting the ball, they're more natural with it. Their arm release comes natural to them. So that's why they're able to go out there and hit threes. That's why a lot of the spot-up three shooters, a lot of three-point guys, they don't lead the NBA in points, don't lead their team in points. But they have the best three-point percentages on the team because they're more natural shooting. They're not all-around scorers. He's a more natural pass rusher. Not saying he's an all-around outside linebacker, but he's more natural, and it's going to come a little bit more easier to him. And I think him being opposite of Whitney Merciless, having Blacklock, having Charles Omenihu, having J.J. Watt in front of him, and also having Cunningham and Bernard McKinney is going to help him showcase a little bit more of his natural pass rushing ability. Now, I think that Jacob Martin, second year on the team, third year is going to be his third year in the league. He's going to be a second year on the team. He's a guy who I think is going to be a situational pass rusher. You've seen it last year, and you've seen that he played better in that game against Buffalo than Whitney Merciless did. We know we have a playoff Whitney Merciless. Kind of like have a playoff Rondo in basketball. You have a playoff Whitney Merciless. Playoff Whitney Merciless really didn't show up against Buffalo. But playoff Jacob Martin did, because playoff Jacob Martin looked better than playoff Whitney Merciless. And also, when he makes impact plays, kind of like Charles Omenihu. Both of them make impact plays. And see, a lot of times when they make sacks, it's either strip sacks or sacks in key moments that you need to either get off the field or to take somebody out of field goal range. They make sacks in key situations, or they're key sacks like turnovers or forcing turnovers or potential forced turnovers by getting the ball loose. Impact plays. And I think him being a situational pass rusher helps him because now he just thrives, pin his ears back, get to the quarterback, do what you do. And then also, another guy who I think is a situational pass rusher is going to be Duke Ejiofor. I think Duke Ejiofor has a lot of talent, and potentially Duke Ejiofor might be able to replace Whitney Merciless. But I'm putting him as a situational pass rusher because he's coming off ACL. And he's another guy, like Jonathan Gennard, is a natural pass rusher. Has natural pass rushing capabilities. His pass rush moves come easy to him. He doesn't have to work and think about it. Of course, he has to work and get better with his craft. That's not a conversation. But his stuff comes more natural, it comes more easier to him when it takes some guys, like I say, 3 to 4, maybe even 5 years to get some of these moves down, to come off that fluent the way it comes off of both Jonathan Gennard and also Duke Ejiofor. So I think that he will be another key piece as a situational pass rusher only because he's coming off the ACL. Because if he wasn't coming off the ACL, I could see him being a threat to being the other opposite outside linebacker with him and Jonathan Gennard. So I think that's going to be your front seven. Then you're going to have JJ, Blacklock, Charles Omenihu. Then in the middle, you got Bernard McKinney, Zach Cunningham, who I think is going to be an all-pro and a Pro Bowler. and then you have Whitney Merciless, and then you also have Jonathan Gennard on the opposite side. Then you have Jacob Martin, and you also have Duke Ejiofor being situational pass rushers. And, you're gonna rotate other guys in. You're gonna rotate your Scarlets. You're gonna rotate your Brandon Dunns, your Blackstone. You're gonna rotate your Dylan Coles. You're gonna rotate these other guys in. I'm not saying, I'm not excluding them from the conversation, but I'm just saying when it comes to rushing the quarterback, your main 7 is going to be JJ, Blacklock, Charles Omenihu, Bernard McKinney, Zach Cunningham, and like I said, both Jonathan Gennard and Whitney Merciless. And then you're going to rotate in pass rush situations. You're going to throw out Jacob Martin. You're going to throw out Duke Ejiofor. I think those are the front 7, and then your 2 rotation pieces in pass situations. I think that is going to help, and I think you're going to see a more complete pass rush than we've seen for the past couple years. Not saying, I'm not, especially if you get JJ to be 20 sacks. I don't think JJ is going to be 20 sack JJ, but I also don't think JJ is going to be like 8 or 9 sack JJ. I think the range that you want JJ to be in is maybe around 14, 15. If you can get JJ in the 14, 15 range, and then get 6 over here with Jonathan Gennard, get 8 with Whitney Merciless, get 4 with Blacklock, get 7 with Charles Omenihu, get 3 with Martin, get 4 with Duke Ejiofor, get a couple out of Bernard McKinney, a couple out of Zach Cunningham, also with them stopping the run, because I do think your run defense is going to fall off some, because you no longer have Jadeveon Clowney, you no longer have DJ Reader, and it's going to be more so Blacklock, who right now his strength is stopping the run. You're going to lean on him and also lean on Bernard McKinney and Zach Cunningham and stopping the run. But I do think this pass rush is going to be better. The run defense is going to fall off some, and I think the pass rush is going to, I'm not saying it's going to shoot to the roof and you're going to be amongst the NFL or the AFC leaders in the pass rush, but I do think this pass rush is going to be above average. I don't think you're going to be below average. I think you're going to be right around the middle of the pack and stop and get to the quarterback, and that's what we should be aiming for at the very least right now. And once Gennard and Blacklock and Charles Omenihu and Duke Ejiofor and these other guys get more acclimated to the NFL, and then they get being 3, 4, 5 year veterans in the NFL, then we should expect more. But as of right now, because we're in the bottom of the NFL, we would I think 28th and getting to the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. So from 28th to get to 16 is a mass jump. That's something that we aiming for. And I also think with a former defensive lineman player / defensive line coach now being the actual DC, I do think that's going to help this pass rush. And I do think that this front 7 is going to be more improved than we've seen for the past couple years. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't, comment below. If you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. Holla.